Phil Spencer has said in an interview, this kicked up quite a bit of not controversy, but just discussion on Twitter here a few days ago now. Phil Spencer said in an interview that while it is not their motivation, they do not need to sell the Elder Scrolls 6 on the PlayStation in order to recoup their investment. This was like a direct question by the interviewer who listed Elder Scrolls 6 specifically and the PlayStation specifically. He didn't, they didn't ask, for example, do you need to make many of these games exclusives to make your money back? They called out specifically Elder Scrolls 6, specifically the PlayStation platform. And his response was immediately, no. And then he elaborated quite substantially to say that it's not that is the plan or our goal, because we want people to be able to, we want as many people as possible to play these games.
Makes sense.
But it doesn't, like, we don't have, he doesn't want people to think that they have to do that in order to make all their money back. So people took that as immediately meaning that that was like the answer to, is Elder Scrolls 6 going to be exclusive? And everyone was like, oh my God, they're going to make Elder Scrolls exclusive, which could still happen. I personally don't see it happening.
I can see it happening for a while.
I could see at most
and then
a 1 year timed exclusive.
Yeah.
That's on the high end.
Yeah.
But there is really, the thing that I keep trying to stress to people about this is that there is no real major downside to not making games exclusive. Which sounds counterproductive. But the reality is, with Game Pass being what it is, Microsoft like I talked about this on the podcast before, in my opinion, Microsoft gets a form of like marketing by osmosis or by proxy, whereby you have Elder Scrolls 6 for the PlayStation 5, $89.99 or $109 exclusive edition with the season pass, the horse armor, and Todd Howard's miniature leather bomber jacket. And you can get in on that option. And then on Microsoft's side, you go, all right, well, if you have the Game Pass, which, like, I don't know, by the time that game comes out, probably 40 million people will have the Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
You get the Elder Scrolls 6 and all of the content that ever comes out for it whenever it hits on day one on Game Pass. Congratulations, that's it. That's all you have to do. There's no $100+ buy-in for the content. Yeah, you don't get a miniature version of Todd Howard's leather bomber jacket, but that's okay. You get the game and all the content, and that's just not for that one game. That's for the hundreds of games on that service for $10 a month on the PC, $15 a month on the Xbox. And so when you're for a console player or even a PC player looking at this on the consoles they might own, I mean, that's such a huge dub for Microsoft. You see $100 on one side, $10 on the other. It's like a fucking no-brainer. And so there's a bit of like low-key marketing that can be done while still making money off of selling it on the PlayStation 5. They still get licensing fees. They still make money on every unit sold. But they also get the benefit of having it be stacked up against their pony, the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series S, the Game Pass specifically. And so I think that, oh yes, I have to post tech support on Patreon. Good thing. So I think that it's less likely than people think that so many of Bethesda's games will be exclusive. And like you said, at the very least, I doubt that even if they were to be exclusive, it would be a timed at worst.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a bigger chance than what you think, but at the same time, you make valid points. Like the only way I see them making an exclusive is if that is just part of the pull to get more Game Pass sales and force people to get into Game Pass. You know, it's basically like saying Disney, it's okay for them to put out Mandalorian on Netflix, or Mandalorian, or a better thing would be not next Netflix is another subscription, but to put Mandalorian and put it on Blu-ray to buy, or stream it, make it so that you can pay for it on Amazon or iTunes to stream. Instead of getting a subscription, you can just pay per episode or pay for the season to stream. That's probably a better way to look at it. Disney's not going to do that. And the reason why Disney's not going to do that is because Disney wants their baby to bring in as many subscriptions as possible. And they don't want any other place to be able to have people to have access to that content, because that is not what that's just, sure, they might make money elsewhere. Yeah, sure, they could sell Mandalorian on iTunes if they wanted to. It's like what Disney Plus is doing with Mulan.
Except they did it worse on their own platform than they did on other platforms.
Yeah. It's like what Disney is doing with Mulan, where it was going to be an exclusive. Don't get me wrong, bro. They were not going to be selling that shit on iTunes and all that. They just made no fucking money, bro. That movie sucked. It got fucked. So what did they do? They went and fucked their people, their subscribers even more. And you also got to think of that as a Game Pass subscription. There's a sense of loyalty. Well, what exactly? Why do people have the ability to buy this elsewhere? They should join us. You know, that it's I know it's a bit of an extreme, but it's a real thing where people are gonna, and not only that, if Skyrim, for example, say Elder Scrolls 6 is just Game Pass only, you know damn well you're gonna get Game Pass. I'm gonna get Game Pass. If it was available on PlayStation, I ain't buying Game Pass. It's just facts. There's not a lot of properties that could get me to do that. It's like Game of Thrones. If it's on HBO, I'm buying HBO. Ask me if I'm buying HBO if Game of Thrones ain't on it. No, it ain't happening. I'm not there. It's the same thing with Game Pass. If you can get those ultra titles and that or that developer and get them specifically on there, that's going to sell more Game Pass. And it's not just the game and the game sales that they're probably worried about and taking into consideration. It's that advertising of Game Pass. And then when you have Game Pass, you're more likely to try out other games. And when you try out other games, you're more likely to buy DLC or microtransactions on those. You're more likely to want to play older catalogs of newer games. It's an infrastructure and an ecosystem that basically, once you get them, then you milk them. And, you know, converting me into Game Pass right now would not only would they get my subscription, but I might be more likely to try out some other games, which then could turn into more dollars. So, do I think that it'll be an exclusive forever? Probably not. But at the same time, if they did say, you know what, sorry guys, this is going on Game Pass and Game Pass only, it's gonna be a lot of upset people. And I get that, but I also wouldn't put it past them.
Man, that's the thing about the Elder Scrolls 6 is that would be like that's the elephant in the room, right? Nobody else is asking, hey, is Fallout going to be exclusive? Like, hey, is Wolfenstein going to be exclusive? Like, nobody's going to ask that. The first thing they're going to ask is the Elder Scrolls 6, which is a generational game, every time it comes out, is that going to be exclusive? And so internally, you know, in my estimation, if you are going to do that, if you're going to make it exclusive, and it would be, on paper it makes sense because obviously you will convert a bajillion people to Game Pass.
Oh yeah, and buy an Xbox,
and buy it doesn't. They don't care about the system. They just care about Game Pass.
Yeah, that is true. That's true.
That's all they care about.
But on top of that, Adam, Look how much money they paid for this fucking. Look
Well,
how much
it's
money.
$7.5 billion, but Bethesda's not going anywhere. It's not like they have to make this money back in the next 3 years, or it was a bad deal. You know, they paid $7.5 billion less for Bethesda and more for the intellectual property that Bethesda and ZeniMax own.
Mhm.
You know, honestly, if I'm just keep it 100, Bethesda as a game company is as useful as the shit that I took this morning and had to follow it up later because it wasn't complete. That's the level of competency that Bethesda has right now. Fallout 76 is the most embarrassing video game to ever be released, and I'm talking about comparing that shit to, like, No Man's Sky. You had a AAA developer where Todd Howard went out in that bomber jacket and told everyone over and over again that they had recruited every single fucking studio under Bethesda, which I don't need to remind you how many studios and how many people that is, and talked about how it's bigger and better and lighting and all the fucking weird shit that he talked about. You know, and then released it and fucked it in ways that we didn't think were possible as one of the largest publishers of video games. And then you take it a step further. And after release, you fuck people 3, 4, 5 times over. You release mass amounts of customer info. You fuck up all of the exclusive, limited edition stuff. The rum is a mess. The thing in the bottle that the rum comes in is a fucking mess. The canvas bag isn't even canvas. You get like a class action fucking lawsuit for false advertising. You tell people that it's just the way that it is and there's nothing that can be done about it. You continue to patch the game and people end up finding ways to get in and completely fucking hack it and take all the shit and grief people and whatnot. And so you just take people's ability to access the game out completely. It's just, the list is endless. It's endless. Bethesda as a company right now, in terms of making the games, is worthless. It's worth $0 and 0 cents. The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Wolfenstein, these are games worth a shitload of money. Yep. These are games worth $7.5 billion.
Yep.
That's what they paid for. They didn't pay for Pete Hines and Todd fucking Howard.
No.
They paid for those games and those IPs.
And the reason why I think that there's a higher chance than what you may think is because with those games and with a new promise of we're going to do right by these IPs, they might make this an exclusive.
Here's what I think. They make it an exclusive if Microsoft actually gets involved in the development. If Microsoft steps in and says, all right, guys, we got to be honest with you, you're shit. And while you've been making these games for 15, 20 years, we can't trust you to do this on your own because we just spent $7.5 billion and we got to make sure that this thing comes out right.
Yep.
And if they're going to do an exclusive to Game Pass or exclusive to Xbox, then they're going to get involved heavy.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to fund it. They're going to send devs. They're going to get A-teams together to make it an absolutely incredible experience. Because, Jeff, if they fucking make Elder Scrolls 6 a Microsoft, Xbox, PC, Game Pass exclusive, and it comes out and it hits like a fucking Skyrim 7 out of 10, and you're still getting the same 25-year-old bugs.
Game over.
And everything else is now playing better. You're done.
Yeah.
Because not only do you now have Todd Howard and Pete Hines with a combined value of $0 and 0 cents, but now you have the Elder Scrolls worth even less money as an intellectual property. You have exactly one shot with the Elder Scrolls, one shot with Fallout, and maybe 2 or 3 shots with Wolfenstein, probably 2, to hit absolute fucking grand slams. And if you don't, it's over. People will say nothing has changed. That's the show. I'm just going to go back to Skyrim. I can play it on my fridge thanks to Xbox, or fucking Microsoft's like xCloud. I'm going to play it on my fridge and I'm going to install anime titty mods and I'm just going to roll around over and over in a giant pile of anime titties and that's it.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. And so the reason why I'm skeptical is because it depends on how much, in my opinion, involvement Microsoft has. Because if they're smart, which Phil Spencer has been fucking 500 IQ plays for quite some time now. Years to get to this point. I believe Phil Spencer is not stupid enough to allow them to their own devices on a $7.5 billion buyout. And so...
Well, it is kind of telling as well that he wanted to let the world know we don't need to put this game on any other platform to break even. We don't.
Well, the reality is that they only need X number of subscriptions with the Game Pass to be making billions of dollars a year. So whether it's not going to matter. They're going to make their money back on Bethesda one way or the other.
Yep.
But obviously, they're going to want to position those games as best as they can to make as much money as they can out of the pickup. But yeah, for now, God only knows. We won't know until later on. We still don't even know if The Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be out before we're fucking 40. So, people probably don't need to be too worked up about that right now. We are years out from seeing anything.